what can you tell us about what is a school psychologist? What do they do, and why are they so cool?
Well, I'm an example of why we're so cool. Just kidding. But I always struggle, or I've been working on my response for what do school psychologists do, because we take on a variety of roles within schools, and it also varies from district to district. But I would say how I usually go about explaining it is that we work with kids who already qualify for special education services or who potentially qualify for special education services. And I'm not going to go into the details, but it's a lot of academic, cognitive, behavioral, and social emotional testing and interviewing, and a lot of gathering of data just to basically, get a full picture of where the students' strengths and weaknesses lie, and be an advocate for them in school. And then we also do
I
a
heard
lot of work.
somebody. Oh,
Oh, there's another piece to it, but the other part that we do is we support teachers in coming up with intervention strategies for them to use within the classroom setting. So it's not just for kids who are already receiving services. We can also be an outlet for communication and collaboration.
that's great. Yeah, and I heard it described in a trying to describe it simplistically as for special education services. It's for students who, for a lot of different reasons, sometimes has nothing to do with themselves, um, uh, learn differently.
Mm-hmm.
They have different needs when it comes to learning. So you find out what those are, and then make sure that those needs are met, so students can learn in the way that's best suited for them.
Exactly.
You can
And
tell
how
me if
I
that's a
always
terrible definition.
No, I think that's well said. And what I like to do, especially when I work with students at the middle school level, and the older they get, I like to be honest with them. And this is what I would tell anyone is we are all, we have different brains. We learn differently. We all have extreme strengths and extreme weaknesses. And we just got to learn, that about ourselves. And then that'll help us in school and with our learning. It doesn't make you, any different or less than of a human. It's just part of who we are.
Yeah, and I think
Excellent.
when I worked with like elementary school students, we talk about like different kinds of smarts.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone? Yeah. And so some people have their smarts or whatever, or like their skills or their strengths or what they're naturally prone to is like social, and I'm like just really good at being with other people or reading the room, or and some people are like math, yeah, no problem. And so it's like you said, Ms. Markowitz, it's like figuring out where's your jam, and then where are the things that you might have to need some different strategies to use.
Exactly.
Yeah, and one thing you kids might realize too is, like, especially if you're in 7th grade now, you just came out of elementary school, and you might actually know Miss Markowitz already because she works part-time at Martha Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. MLE. What's their mascot, by the way?
Oh no.
She doesn't know.
The Eagles. The
Can
only
I
one
say,
she needs to know is the Mustangs.
yes, I
Mustangs.
know Alderwood Mustangs. I don't know why I didn't know Eagles. But they
They
also
don't.
changed me over to
And
Oak Heights this year.
Oh, so you're not at Martha Lake anymore?
Not this year.
Oh.
Oh man, okay. Well, I think the point is those that you students may have encountered a school psychologist when you're in elementary school, and in our district, counselors, school psychologists are trained to do counseling as well. So sometimes in elementary school, your school psychologist will serve as your counselor. But when you guys get to middle school, and especially high school, the psychologist will really only be working with students and serving students, like Miss Markowitz said, qualified for special education services that needs help learning in a certain way. But when you think of counseling, you think of generalized. So counselors will meet with any student anytime, provide them counseling needs. Why school psychologists are like the special forces team that come in and help students that need certain learning supports or have different learning goals.
And that's one
Is
thing
that
that
correct?
yes. And that's one thing that I really love about our district, Edmonds, is that at the elementary level, like Mr. Webb was saying, school psychologists do get that, get to do counseling, which is so unique and not common for the role. And last year was my first year with Martha Lake, and my first year getting that counseling experience. So for the kids that recognize me and that previously attended Martha Lake, thank you for letting me come in and sharpen my counseling skills with you guys.
Karla or Ms. Markowitz, what, so you've got to work with elementary and middle school. Have you got to work with high schoolers too before?
Yes, I actually was at Linwood High School my first year when I was an intern. And so that was two years ago. And so for some of us, we'll be at Linwood High School next year, which is exciting. And I think that's another unique thing that I got to experience were feeder schools. So an elementary school that went to Alderwood, and then I worked with Alderwood for the majority of my time. And then I've also gotten experience at Linwood High School. So that has been extremely helpful for me just by working with kids and talking with their parents and families and kind of preparing them for what, the high school level is going to look like or what the middle school level is going to look like.